Hello, everyone. On the 23rd of May, there's going to be a full moon exactly on Lilith, the asteroid Lilith. So it will be probably the full moon of Revolt. Let's take a look at the London chart. As you can see, it will be exact on the 23rd of May at 14:53 London time in the afternoon, which means that we won't be able to see the full moon at this exact time, simply because it won't be up. It will take another probably 5 hours before it comes up to the horizon, because I think at this time in the year the sun sets around 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock ish, probably. So the moon will be another 2.5 degrees away from Lilith. Okay, so here's the London chart, and as you can see, Virgo is rising. Saturn is exactly in Pisces on the descendant, so we can expect some hardship coming from open enemies, or if you want to look at it from your own life, your spouse. And there are some highlights. As you can see, the Lilith Pallas Athena conjunction is already separating. Pallas Athena went back into Scorpio. This conjunction has been one of the main karmic astrological features of the last couple of weeks. And now they are really separating because Pallas Athena is faster than Lilith at the moment. So the two strong, independent feminine are still kind of there on the full moon. So they are supporting the full moon. The Jupiter-Venus conjunction is energetic at the very, very last degrees of Taurus. So they are stuck. Sedna is at 0 degrees Gemini, and the moon is conjunct this Sedna. So it's also highlighting what needs to be rearranged. Sedna means creation through dissection. The fact that the Jupiter-Venus is stuck means that our luck is not really able to show itself. So because Venus Jupiter is always big luck, little luck and big luck together. So it should be a brilliant, beautiful moment. But if you look around, you see all kinds of horrible things are happening. And just the other day, the Slovakian prime minister was almost murdered. And you see all kinds of revolts in Europe, everywhere, also in the United States, at universities. You see violence everywhere. And this particular full moon talks about violence in many, many respects. First of all, because the North Node is still conjunct, or it's a separating conjunction with Mars, and Chiron is coming up to a conjunction with Aries. So our karmic wounds at the moment are linked to violence and war and aggression, and drastically altered outward circumstances are prompting these things even further. So those are the highlights of the full moon. As you can see, there is a beautiful mystic rectangle and other aspects as well. There is a complex planetary picture, and actually there's one that I did not put down. There is and also an engine here, which I'm going to just tell you. And so here's the complex planetary picture around 2 degrees of the signs. 2-3 degrees. But I did include the Jupiter Venus here because some of the aspects are quite tight with Venus and Jupiter. So, but that's what makes them. And of course Neptune. That's what makes them also aneretic and dissociate. So they're both aneretic and dissociate. Let's see why. So the mystic rectangle is closing between the sun, ego development, the moon, the spiritual essence, Astrea, the karma breaker, and Pluto, transformation, transmutation. So that's the energy that is at our disposal. There is of course also a mutability square involving the sun, moon, and trans-Pluto. Trans-Pluto is the dimension jump. And yeah, I was thinking about this whole thing because at the moment, both the United States and the EU leaders are kind of escalating the war rhetoric. The United States just gave permission to Ukraine to use the weapons, the American weapons, on any kind of soil, on any kind of target. And I'm just asking, do you think that this is something that the Russians are going to just benevolently look forward to? Or what do you think? This is escalation in a big scale. And of course, America is far away. And again, we have a war that is fighting for American causes and financial and economic goals on European soil, on foreign soil. This is the, I don't know how many times did this already the United States, that it's fighting a proxy war with with blood and with weapons that and money that's theirs, but with blood and destruction that will be ours. And that is exactly what the trans-Pluto mutable T-square indicates in this particular chart. Trans-Pluto is dimension jump, and if you consider it, the ultimate dimension jump is death. Okay, there are, as I said, there are also some energetic dissociate kinds, but first, let's take a look at the engine. This is a mutable air engine. So there's a Pluto-Venus, there's a Pluto-Sun trine. This is an exact trine, and energetically as well, because they are in, both planets are in air signs. But there's also a Pluto-Venus trine and a Pluto-Jupiter trine, which are there, but they are in square energies because Jupiter and Venus are still in Taurus and Pluto is already in Aquarius. So this is a trine, greed. Pluto, Venus, and Pluto, Jupiter is always about green and super success as well, but this is hindered by greed. And the first kite is the Sun, Moon, Neptune, and Astrea. And here, Neptune is energetic, of course, and also dissociates. So there's a trine between Neptune and Astrea, which is a quincunx energy, Leo and Pisces. And the other kite is Pluto, Moon, Lilith, Neptune, and Astrea. And again, so energetic means being stuck. Neptune, Venus, and Jupiter are all stuck. So our well-being, our hopes, and our transcendent energies, and also the smokescreen are stuck. And also the dissociate energies make it look that nothing is what it seems to be. So we have something on the surface, and underneath everything looks different. So, but of course, we are presented with the surface energies, and we are usually unable to realize what is actually going on. So that's the problem. That's the issue here. Okay. There's also a mini engine involving things around 18 degrees. And I included the North Node here, which is at 15 degrees, but I think this triple conjunction of the node, Mars, and Hygeia are relevant. Mars is also ruling the North Node, which in this case, which will, of course, be at our disposal throughout the year, means that we need to learn to fight. Why? Because we need to create some sort of order, some sort of sacred space. And this is squared by Vesta, the focusing principle, and Saturn Vesta trines are focusing on the basics. But of course, at the same time, in karmic astrology, Saturn Vesta are the oath or promise combination. So it means that you can focus on what needs to be done, but also there is some sort of oath. And if you look around, this is exactly what you hear. The leaders of the world say that that Russia cannot win this war, Ukraine cannot lose this war. May I ask why? There are another about 30 wars going on throughout the world. Why is this so important to the United States or to Europe? Russia is not an EU member. Ukraine is not an EU member. These are two Slav countries, two Slav nations fighting each other. This is a sibling war. What do we have to do with it? Oh yeah, because big European and American corporations bought certain lands in the Ukraine, and they don't want to lose their territories. Okay, so that is why another 500,000 people need to be dead or maimed and countless uh, properties lost and destroyed. Okay, I see now. Now here is a mystic rectangle at the same time. Okay, did I? Yeah, I didn't tell you what's going on here. Sorry. Okay, Saturn is conjunct Nessus and also conjunct the descendant. And Nessus is a centaur that is, read the myth. I told you a couple of times, and here it's what is happening in the myth is really interesting because the mixture of Nessus's blood, semen, and the blood, which is also poisoned by the blood of the Hydra. So you have a double blood, deadly poison and semen concoction here. And first of all, semen and blood are the most potent magical components. And of course, poison is a deadly poison when you die. And so this is really a very potent energy here. And on the Mars Hygeia, you have Nodus too, which is one of the bands of the celestial dragon, Draco. I think it's Sea Draco, Nodus too. And the whole constellation, Draco, so the celestial dragon, is about how to protect or create wealth and some sort of treasure. And on Vesta, you have Vasat, which is the elbow of the celestial twins, where they are joined by the elbow, and it is linked to this is a word where we actually learn to make decisions, to create, to make decisions for the long time. Okay, here's a mystic rectangle as well between the nodal axis and the London MCIC angle. And as you can see, we have out of the four, we have three fixed stars. Actually, the Great Attractor is not one fixed star; it is a key celestial area, but it's still up in the sky and not part of the solar system. And in the Budapest chart, it was really fascinating because there were the 4 points, the MCIC, ascendant, descendant. We had four bright and important stars. So I can't call this a Stargate because in the London chart you don't have the Stargate energy. What you do have is that on the south node, you have Algorab, Alpha Corvus, black magic. And on the north node, you have Alpherat, Alpha Andromeda, which is the second healing word of suicide victims. And this is where we learn to move freely, and the soul learns to make movements again. And on the midheaven, you have three asteroids, Athena, which is a counterpart of Pallas Athena, Minerva, which is the Roman counterpart of Pallas Athena. So you have two wise women, and Epimetheus, who was Prometheus's brother, who didn't see before, like Prometheus, who always saw before, but was able to understand happenings, occurrences later on. And this is exactly in our future. We need to be wise, and we need to understand the processes and learn from them. That is what it suggests. And on the IC of Persephone, the Lord of the Underworld's wife, okay, Hades' wife. So she's the lady of the underworld on the lowest point of the chart. And you have also the Great Attractor, which is one of the key celestial areas. And the karmic dilemma linked to it is whether or not you have free will. What is fate and what is free will? That is the dilemma ahead of us. So that's the full moon, the Sagittarius full moon. Happy full moon. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to put together a longer video on the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, what it kind of brings for the most important nations in Europe, and also I'm going to look at probably Washington D.C. and Moscow and maybe Beijing and maybe Tel Aviv, just to get you a glimpse of what this Jupiter-Uranus, because Jupiter-Uranus is always big changes. So let's see what big changes there are going to be. Of course, the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction was on in April, so about a month ago, but now we are already seeing some escalating things. So it may be worth looking at them in detail. Again, thank you for listening, and happy Sagittarius new moon on Lilith, the revolt against injustice. Bye-bye.